Chief Timoon's eyewitness account of the Battle of Little Bighorn is a rare and invaluable glimpse into the events that shaped the fate of the Lakota, Cheyenne, and Arapaho tribes. As a prominent Cheyenne war leader, Timoon played a key role in the battle and witnessed firsthand the bravery and sacrifice of his people. In this extraordinary testimony, he shares his personal perspective on the events leading up to Custer's last stand, the fierce battle itself, and its aftermath. With remarkable detail and insight, Timoon recounts the triumphs and struggles of his nation, challenging our assumptions and shedding new light on a pivotal moment in Native American history. So, sit back, relax, and let's embark on this fascinating journey together. As you watch this video, remember to click the like button and subscribe to our channel to support this community. In the spring of 1876, my Cheyenne tribe and I were encamped along Powder River near what is now Fort McKinney with 50 lodges. One morning, soldiers led by Colonel McKenzie, also known as Three Fingers, charged our camp, taking us by surprise. We scattered, leaving our ponies behind. The soldiers seized all our horses. But that night, under the cover of darkness, we quietly approached and reclaimed our horses, then departed. We traveled a great distance and eventually stumbled upon a large Sioux encampment at Charcoal Butte. We joined the Sioux camp and enjoyed the abundance of grass, game, and good water. Crazy Horse, the chief of the camp, welcomed me warmly. "I'm pleased you're here," he said. "We're preparing to fight the white man again." The camp was already filled with wounded men, women, and children. I replied, "I'm ready to fight alongside you. I've fought before, and I've lost loved ones and horses to the enemy." Around May, when the grass was tall and our horses were strong, we packed up and headed towards the mouth of the Tongue River. Sitting Bull, Crazy Horse, and the rest of us traveled up the Rosebud, where we engaged in a fierce battle with General Crook and emerged victorious. Many soldiers fell, but few Indians lost their lives. The battle was intense, with thick smoke and dust filling the air. Afterward, we crossed the divide and set up camp in the Little Horn Valley. We thought we had finally escaped the white man's reach, and we could live in peace. But a few days later, a Sioux messenger arrived in our camp north of Sitting Bull's and announced, "Prepare for a grand celebration. Cook, get ready, and prepare for a big dance." The Cheyennes busied themselves cooking, cutting tobacco, and making preparations. We planned to dance all day, reveling in our freedom from the white man. I went to water my horses at the creek, washed them in the cool water, and then took a refreshing swim myself. As I returned to camp on foot, I gazed up the Little Horn towards Sitting Bull's camp and noticed a massive cloud of dust rising, like a whirlwind. Suddenly, Sioux horsemen rode into camp, shouting, "Soldiers are coming! Many white soldiers!" I rushed into my lodge, urging my brother-in-law, "Hurry, get the horses ready. The white men are approaching." Outside, I heard a distant war cry, "Hey-ay! Hey-ay!" and the rapid firing of guns growing closer. I couldn't see any Indians, only people scrambling to saddle their horses. After securing my horse, a Sioux warrior returned, warning, "Many soldiers are on their way." He then directed the women, "Step aside, we're preparing for a fierce battle." I responded, "I'm ready, I'll fight alongside you." Mounting my horse, I rode into the camp, calling out to the people in a frenzy, "I am Timoon, your leader. Don't flee. Stand your ground and fight. We must confront the white soldiers. I'll remain, even if it costs me my life." I rode swiftly towards Sitting Bull's camp, where I saw the white soldiers engaged in battle, Reno's men. The flat land was covered with Indians, pushing the soldiers back, a chaotic mix of Sioux, soldiers, and more Sioux, all firing their weapons. The air was thick with smoke and dust. I saw the soldiers retreat and descend into the riverbed like stampeding buffalo. They had no chance to find a crossing, and the Sioux pursued them up the hill, where they encountered more soldiers in wagons. Then messengers arrived, reporting that more soldiers threatened to harm the women, prompting the Sioux to turn back. Chief Gull fought bravely, and Crazy Horse was there too. Later, I returned to my camp and halted the women from moving the lodges. As I sat on my horse, I saw flags emerging over the hill to the east. They formed 3 groups, squadrons, with some distance between them. Then a bugle sounded, and they dismounted, while some soldiers led the horses back over the hill. The Sioux galloped up the ridge from all directions, riding swiftly, the Cheyennes taking the left path. The gunfire erupted, rapid and intense, pop, 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 very fast. Some soldiers were on their knees, others standing, with officers leading from the front. The smoke was thick, like a vast cloud, and wherever the Sioux rode, dust billowed up like smoke. We surrounded them from all sides, moving like water swirling around a stone. We shot, rode fast, then shot again. Soldiers fell, horses toppled over them, and soldiers in line dropped, but one man rode back and forth along the line, shouting all the while. He rode a chestnut horse with a white face and white 4 legs. I don't know who he was, but he was a brave man. The Indians kept circling around, and the soldiers only managed to kill a few. Many soldiers fell. Eventually, all the horses were killed except for 5. Occasionally, a man would break free and dash towards the river, only to fall shortly after. Finally, about 100 men and 5 horsemen stood on the hill, all bunched together. Throughout the battle, the bugler kept blowing his commands, and he was very brave. Then a chief was slain. I heard it was Longhair Custer, but I'm not certain. The 5 horsemen and a group of about 40 men began to move towards the river, led by the man on the chestnut horse, who shouted encouragement all the while. He wore a buckskin shirt, had long black hair and a mustache, and fought bravely with a large knife. His men were covered in white dust, making it difficult to discern their ranks. One man, alone, ran far down towards the river, then circled back over the hill. I thought he might escape, but a Sioux warrior fired and struck him in the head. He was the last man standing, and he had braids on his arms. All the soldiers were dead, and their bodies were stripped of their belongings. After that, it was hard to distinguish who were officers. The bodies remained where they fell, a grim reminder of the battle's outcome. We didn't hold a dance that night, as sorrow filled our hearts. The next day, for Sioux chiefs, 2 Cheyennes, and I, Tamoon, went to the battlefield to count the dead. One man carried a bundle of sticks. As we approached each lifeless body, we took a stick and passed it to another man, counting the dead in this manner. We counted 388 bodies in total. Among them were 39 Sioux and 7 Cheyennes killed, and around 100 wounded. Some white soldiers were slashed with knives to ensure they were dead, and the war women mutilated some bodies. Most were left where they lay. We came upon the man with the big mustache, lying down the hill toward the river. Custer fell higher up on the ridge. The Indians didn't remove his buckskin shirt. The Sioux said, "That's a big chief. That's long hair." I couldn't confirm, as I hadn't seen him before. The man on the horse with the white face was the bravest of them all. That day, as the sun set, our young men raced up the Little Horn, riding hard. We spotted many white soldiers arriving in a large boat with smoke billowing up. I gathered my people, and we quickly moved up the Little Horn into Rotten Grass Valley. We stayed there for 3 days, then rode back swiftly along our previous path to the east. Sitting Bull returned to the Rosebud and headed down the Yellowstone, journeying northward. I didn't encounter him again.